Welcome, everybody. Oh, my goodness. So we're on. So everybody see the marquee? Clare Green. It's like, oh, my goodness. It's like, that's me? I have to do something? So, no, I'm happy to be here. And we'll jump in. I see 3 parts tonight, talking about clairvoyant, what it means to be a clairvoyant, and sharing some photographs of, possibly what you might have experienced with your sight, and then reading some stories too. And answering questions at any time, or asking them and trying to answer them. But really happy to be here as spring comes around the corner. Anybody hear the red-winged blackbirds? No. I did in Northfield. Yeah, okay. Chirong-chiree. So part of developing your clairvoyance is being sensitive to nature and reaching out. We have our 5 senses, physical senses, and they fuel our spiritual chakras. We also have 2 other senses. We have our heart, and we have our sense of humor, as Linda graciously reminded me when we've been in meditation. So really 7 senses to work with. And I'll show you how keeping a sense of humor. My sister once wrote me a little card, feeling tired, stressed out of touch with reality. Look at this woman and count your blessings. So this was just me many years back when I lived on the near the Diamond Egg Farm, and my sister and family, we like to sort of tease each other and to keep that momentum of staying attuned to what is important, but also keeping that sense of humor. And I can tend to get a little serious, so my family keeps me in mode. So hopefully I don't look stressed out that way tonight. So just take one, and I think I have enough. I'd just like to start as a little blessing, and then we'll get into the clairvoyance capabilities.
Oops. Oh, the ingredient I have too.
Here, I could split them in half next time. Yeah, great. That's so great, having community together. Each of you have touched my life in a special way. So to have you here as we share, thank you. So I'll read a line, and then Tracy, you'll read the second, and we'll just go around. So this is by John O'Donohue. His Celtic Reflections on our yearning to belong. So may you awaken to the mystery of being here and enter the quiet immensity of your own presence.
May you have joy and peace in the temple of your senses.
May you receive great encouragement when new frontiers beckon.
May you respond to the call of your gift and find the courage to follow its path.
May the flame of anger free you from falsity. May warmth of heart keep your presence aflame, and may anxiety never linger about you.
May your outer dignity mirror an inner dignity of soul.
May you take the time to celebrate the quiet miracles that seek no attention.
May you be consoled in the secret symmetry of your soul.
May you experience each day as a sacred gift woven around the heart of wonder.
Thank you. And for all of us, may we feel this blessing. So, this is a color format, but I didn't have a color one, and I'd like to do the same thing. I'll start reading at the base chakra, And then some are pink though, but some are white. So get the one you want. So this explains how the chakras, or another word is wheels of energy, are connected to our spine. And as those go around, the chakras were actually filmed through Carillion photography. It was a type of photography that was developed in Russia in the 1920s. And so these are the chakras that are wheels of energy, and they're going up from your root chakra to the spleen and your solar plexus. You can see they're also considered flowers. You can see each time there are more petals within each one. This is an old book, sorry. So we've got the heart chakra, and then this would be the throat chakra. So your heart up to your throat, and then will be third eye, and then the crown, which is often depicted with a lotus. And then this is how they all integrate along your spine and energize you. And here's
Claire,
another.
are those oriented this way or this way?
They're both from your spine and
So
Is
the
it-
picture, the image, the images are circular.
right.
So is that circularness happening in this plane or in this?
Oh, I
plane?
see. I believe that's a good question. I'm not 100% knowledgeable in that. That would be something to look up. I picture it this way. This way.
You picture it that way.
Right.
Yeah, that's
But
what I
maybe,
was
yeah.
Imagining.
Right. Linda, do you know? In terms of how
I just always pictured them this way,
okay.
and some of them spin one way, and some of them spin another way.
Right. And these are the 7 chakras that we know about, but then there are 5 more that are considered the lost chord. So each one vibrates to a color, a vibration, an energy, and the lost, and a musical sound. And the lost chord represents truth, mercy, justice, salvation, and illumination. Those are on the pastel colors, but these aren't represented here. These are the ones that we have known for a long time.
And then we have some that go down into the earth, and some that go up
Right,
into the heavens.
right. So I am not an expert on this, but I'm giving you sort of the background why people can be more sensitive than other people. So that their chakras are open and healthy and working in such a way that there is a sensitivity where you have the sight, your third eye is open. You can hear voices, you have a clairaudience, you're able to speak and have energy and awareness coming through your throat chakra. So I thought it'd be helpful just to read. So starting with the root chakra, you're feeling grounded in the physical world, being here, one's connection to being born, having a family, or being part of a community. Here we are, a culture and a country. Being part of a religious or racial group work, and the ability to bring our dreams to life. Now, this is just a basic little interpretation, so not deeply esoteric. There are many books that you can research that way. So would you like to then, Tracy, go up to the sacral chakra?
Control in the material world, issues relating to pleasure, sexuality and sensuality, money, security, emotions, and general well-being.
Okay, so thank you.
And the solar plexus.
And so right here, if you put your hand on your gut, you can feel things in a positive way or in a negative way. That's your seat of truth. And there are times that just paying attention to what you feel here, if somebody's telling you something, oh, that's not right, or this is not going to lie to you. This is your indicator. And so we mostly know the solar plexus chakra because of that, that, right? You've all had
Feel your gut, follow your gut.
exactly,
Yeah.
Mandy, exactly. Yeah, so so that's when they're all healthy. Okay, thank you. Go ahead.
Personal power, fear of intimidation and rejection, lack of self-esteem and self-worth, confidence, and freedom of choice. Feeling comfortable as who you are. Feeling comfortable in your own skin. Not asking everyone for permission for everything. Not seeking to be okay in everyone else's eyes.
Thank you. David? Yeah?
The heart chakra. Issues concerning love of self and others, unity, love of nature, family, friends, and peace. Loving and nurturing the inner child, not using self-criticism. Loving and accepting yourself without reservation.
Thank you. And I'll just say that in reaching out to all of nature, as I said earlier, through your 5 physical senses, and the 2 others, your heart and your sense of humor, that reaching out to nature and touching all of it is fueling and energizing your chakras. So taking a walk in the woods is healing on many levels and keeps all of the energy within you healthy more than you can imagine. So, okay, thanks.
The first chakra?
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Sarah.
Yeah. The issues relating to development of willpower and personal expression, speaking one's truth, communication, creativity, and integrity. Not swallowing what you really want to say, but speaking with freedom. Speaking your own opinion, not the opinion that will be accepted by those around you. Speaking from the core of who you are and speaking without fear of judgment.
Is that, it all resonates, right? Yeah, okay, thank you. Okay.
The brow chakra, use of knowledge, higher reasoning and intuition, imagination, discernment, and memory, allowing your 6th sense to blossom, seeing, hearing, and accepting direction from the inner voice, allowing yourself the freedom to move from the direction of your own gut, following the divine inner presence.
Thank you. And we talked about that last time, and that all-seeing can open up through meditation. It's not like being psychic or clairvoyant is a goal. It's a byproduct of just being sensitive and kind and compassionate to your experiences in life. So it just so happens that you can tune into other things, but that's not the goal ever. The goal is just to keep healthy, keep on the path that you're walking. So, thank you, BG.
The crown chakra, acceptance of one's life and desire and ability to fill one's life purpose, beauty, serenity, and oneness with the source or creator, being one with all.
Okay. So, thank you. Am I...
Have we lost you?
No, you haven't lost me. Are you game with me? So what I'd like to do is just a real quick mini meditation, and I'll ask you to breathe, relax, and do an inner scope of your own chakras. I'll just go from the base up and see if you can either sense the ones that are healthy and going fine, or needs a little more energy, or I don't know. So just a little mini meditation for your own being, and I just thought that would be helpful. Are we game for it?
Yes.
Yeah, it won't take long. We're talking just maybe a couple minutes. Okay. So, breathing in and breathing out. Feel the feet solid on the ground. Feel your body relax. Relax your body. Relax your jaw. Breathing in and breathing out. Imagine a flower at the base of your chakra, the root chakra. Breathing in and breathing out. Relax. Feel the flower as a red rose. Breathing in and breathing out. And up to the spleen chakra. Nice orange tiger lily. Breathing in and breathing out. Relax. And up to your solar plexus. A golden daffodil. Breathing in and breathing out. Relax. Feel the harmony, the balance, and the order through your solar plexus. And up to your heart chakra. Feel fresh green fields of grass. Breathing in and breathing out. And from your heart chakra of growth and light up to your throat chakra of appreciation and perception. Blue flax, blue sky, blue lapis lazuli. Breathing in and breathing out. And up to your third eye chakra of love. Feel the violets of springtime within your third eye. Breathing in and breathing out. Relax. Bring the love up to your crown chakra. And feel the radiance of all chakras as you breathe in and breathe out. With purple iris, lupins, chrysanthemums, asters. Breathing in and breathing out. Relax. Appreciate your chakras, and know at any time you can take a moment to breathe in and breathe out to energize the chakras. Thank yourself and feel gratitude. I'll know you're ready when your eyes are open. I think Alan's sleeping a little bit. You've had a full day. It's okay.
Very restful.
All right, good. So just know that you have the capability to strengthen your chakras. And I know you do this already, right? But it's maybe nice to be led in an exercise. So what I'd like to show you now, any questions?
Oh, I have tons of questions.
This is really 101, Chakra 101.
Yeah.
But we can meet and visit at any time, Louise. Yeah, I know it. Here, I'm going to pass a little rose quartz around, and you can put that on any chakra. Anything from the natural world really helps to energize your chakras, so feel free to use it to place on your heart, or just hold it, or pass it on. And this is just sort of a little culmination. Chakras can be thought of as energies that bring life force, or prana, into your body. And the 7 largest chakras form a column of energy, and it centers and is aligned with the spine, what we just experienced. And these range from the base chakra at the bottom all the way to the crown. And when your chakras are balanced, they will all be spinning and of a similar size as they process the energy. If a chakra isn't functioning well, the area of the body that the chakra serves will become depleted or sick. Keeping your chakras clear and well balanced can have a positive effect on your overall well-being. Crystals are excellent allies in clearing the chakras and correcting their spin, as well as doing yoga, because that energizes all the chakras, exercise outside, and walking in nature. So that's just a little recap. So this is sort of an extension of what we just talked about, but focusing more on a subtle presence that one can feel, and then I'll show you photographs. And presence, from the Webster's Dictionary, is a state or fact of being in a certain place, or the space immediately surrounding a person, or an intangible spirit or mysterious influence felt to be present. So, here, just take one. We're not going to read it together, but that can be for later. Let's put it with your pile. You're welcome. Here you go. Thank you. Yep. So here, shall you're welcome, Louise. Here, one more. There are a couple other little quotes in there. Sure. Diane, thanks. All right. And and you're welcome. And don't pay attention to Curtis Moore up there. That was something else. But when at the end I said, remember, it's just another lifetime. I think I shared that with you last time I was at Elwood's table back in Probably about this time. I was visiting my sister and her husband, Elwood Babbitt, and I was sharing some sort of story. And I meant to say, well, I know, it's just another lifetime. That's what Elwood would tell me. And instead, I said, oh, it's just another laugh time. And then we all laughed because whatever, we take seriously to heart, just, it always changes. So just to keep aware, that is really keep a sense of humor no matter what comes our way. Currently, there's a lot we need to work on, but finding like-minded people who carry the light and share the light, and so this is. We are all these bearers of light and energy. We are made of stars. And so this ability to keep ourselves healthy and whole. And last time I really emphasized the importance of each thought really makes a difference. And is powerful. It acts as a done deed. And through meditation, we can settle our mind and clear our mind and be a conduit in a way that really sends positive light energy to this planet. So that was sort of my overarching intent to share about these stories, so that just reminding we're all in this together and we all have these capabilities. It just so happened that maybe I had a little more, I don't know, a little more capability from a young age. But everybody can do this, and be aware that your thoughts are powerful, and your capability to really be light, send light is important, I feel. That's just me. It's beyond religion or anything like that. So here are some photos that that's Claire as a little brownie. I got that. And that's just me laughing because I couldn't see, so everybody gave me their glasses. But here's an example of, I did not see a rainbow when I was in Arizona at the time that this picture was taken, but I was totally in awe. It was my first time being in the desert. And so that sense of awe and beauty just presented itself there. You can sort of see that, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Hold on. First, and then I'll come back. This has rainbows in it. I was walking with a friend, Candace Anderson, the art teacher, and I happened to take a picture, but we've got orbs, we've got a rainbow shaft there. And right after that picture had been taken, then she ends up telling me about 2 people in her life who had died. And I couldn't help but feel the presence was there. Not everything can always be explained. And this is around Laurel Lake. Elaine and I were walking, and it's almost, I didn't see this. I didn't see this when I took the picture. I was just taking the picture because it was a beautiful day and we were enjoying a nice walk. And we were sharing from our heart. And so there was definitely, you can almost see like a presence. Mm-hmm. It's, so this is Morgan, who loved rainbows and made up a little song after I had story told, and she has since died. She had she was age 5, but died when she was about 19. And after I had story told her the legend of the rainbow, she made up this song. I have colors through the sky as I gently, softly fly. All my colors are very bright, but I do not fly at night. When it's raining, I come out, but the water gently spouts. I have yellow, I have green, rainbow colors of a dream, of a dream, of a dream, dream, dream. And that was darling, curly-haired Morgan, and she just went off and zipped that right away after storytelling. So, anyway, let's see.
It seems like you're not only are you sensitive or clairvoyant or whatever words you want to put to it, but you seem to be sensitive to others who have that propensity.
Yes.
You see it in them.
Right, I do.
Yeah.
Yes, correct. And my inspiration, we all have areas that we get inspiration from, and mine is clouds, sky. The sky is available to all of us, and I have deep attunement with looking up at the sky and I love that because your gaze is infinite. You don't know where your gaze is ending when you look to the sky. But also driving to work every day, when I was in that mode, it was a way to be centered and to be inspired and to send out metta loving kindness prayers to people who needed it. And so the sky, and I just, who knows if that was camera or spirit, but I was collecting wood and lights were flashing. But that wasn't visible when I was collecting the wood. This was actually over Mount Tully, and so you can see a rainbow seed here and another, and then little green seeds. I mean, it just felt like they're, I don't always know exactly, but it felt positive that there's energy force that's present by Mount Tully. That was that dedication day back in 2003 or 2002. So. Here's another one so you can see it more clearly, like seed pods, and so whether you see them or not, you can have sensation and feel when there's energy around. I know Tracy's very sensitive that way, and so let's see. And just the beauty of the sky, because it's really appreciating beauty and the love around you. Yeah, this was that dedication. And light. Got a little bit around the Ned Stone. The Ned Stone, I know, up there. It just, and all that wasn't there. It was just this incredible sky. And then when it got developed, it's like, oh my goodness. So, and the softness of light that can come in like a cloud too, a whisper. I think that's probably, I mean, some of these are kind of repeats of what I showed you. Margie's there, but that's, okay, and this one, I think, this is just the beauty of the sun coming through, but it just feels magical too. So the more we can appreciate beauty and love, and this was similar to the Laurel Lake. To me, it felt like a boundary marker was being sent, the orange boundary marker, something, so. So there's unseen help on so many levels, is what these seem to indicate to me, that we're not alone. And we can access those if we choose to, or not. You know, it just, appreciate. But that,
I have a question,
yeah,
Claire.
I'm gonna listen to your question. I'm gonna send around if you want balsam fir, because that helps to invigorate. And anytime you take deep breaths, or you can give yourself a squirt of rose water if you want. So, and feel free to take a little bit on your finger or whatever you want to do. You can, yeah, I know.
My house smells like this year round. I love it.
Me too.
There's just something about it that it just makes you feel better.
Rose?
No.
So that's so important to whatever makes you feel energized is to have that around you. And then I'm
Right
just,
out in nature.
yeah, I'm going to send these, just pick up a little card like this. You don't take it all the way out. I got willingness, so here I am, willing to share. Like, what am I doing now? So thank the angel, and then just put it back in and pass to the next person. And with angel cards, if you want to ask a question, you can do that. Just put that in your heart and take with your left hand. All energy flows left to right. So you're receiving and then giving. So, all right, back to Louise's question. Thank you.
Well, it's just a curiosity, you know, I was watching the YouTube video before I came of your last
Right.
time here, because I wasn't here. And you're talking a lot about how young you were when you began to sense that you were very sensitive. And I'm just curious about that. What did you notice? What did you discover? How old were you when you felt like you were more sensitive to
Well, I never
than
pre-
other beings around you, or you got some special sense of your own abilities in that way?
It just felt natural. I did not
Yeah.
until I was an adult, Louise, did I realize, oh, other people don't have those
Yeah.
feelings either. So I just thought everybody had them. Diane, right? You had that same experience, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it just part of knowing that you're not alone, that there's presence.
Yeah,
All
I'll
right.
tell you one story.
Yeah, yeah, I'd love to hear it.
My mother-in-law was very ill. She was home with on hospice, and we were all there. She has a very large family. Most of the children, and I was there, and she started breathing differently, and I knew that was going to be the end. My sister-in-law was a nurse, so she was taking care of her, and she passed away. My sister-in-law went and opened the window just a little, and I don't know why she did that, but everybody was crying and laughing and telling stories, and all of a sudden I saw the energy, the ball of energy rise out of her, and it was right there. And I said, I went to my husband to say, look, and then I thought to myself, nobody else is gonna see this. This is just me seeing this. So I gave her a wave, and eventually the energy went out the window.
Yes.
And it's energy like you
Beautiful.
see in the pictures.
Right. Right.
It's just so alive, and it's so,
Scintillating.
yes.
Yes.
It glows, it sparkles. I've experienced it before.
Right.
And in a larger sense, with a younger person who passed away, and it was a larger, much larger presence. And I was actually surrounded by it. And I could put my hand out of it and
Right.
into it, so that those are real.
Right.
Those-
Right.
You
right.
just, some people see them and some people don't. and
Or some people feel
feel
them.
them.
Yeah, feel that. I shared about that same approach with a story about Jack Ellis last time. Yeah, beautifully done. I know, it's a gift, isn't it?
It is,
It's such to
a
see,
gift
you
to
don't
be able to
realize,
see that.
no,
Yeah.
which I didn't realize, and you see those things too, Tracy. Yeah, Right,
Yeah, she sees energy.
right, right. Nice, thank you for sharing. I'll share, yeah. My sweat lodge
feel a little
story
outed,
is
Chris?
like that, where you in and out of the
When
energy,
it
yeah.
comes to energy. But I became way more accepting of
The
it.
big energy was my,
When I
I
was
was 18.
very
my
young,
boyfriend, he died in a
it
car
was
accident.
weird to me.
He was
It was,
very
I
much-
was,
Wait, share that with all of us in a second, yeah.
I was different than everybody else, and it almost made me feel like I was crazy. And thankfully Linda was doing energy work and had a lot of energy people involved in her life already. And when I learned it was okay, and that I wasn't the only one that could do it, I was teen before I was willing to really accept it. So
You started in a very rough way, too.
yeah, so yeah. I've always known, but I kept it hidden for a very long time because I felt like I was not normal for being able to do it. So I didn't want other people to know, and have something to be judged of.
Yeah.
Right.
Let it judge for being different.
Right. And when you were kindergartner, it was just part of your being. And
Yeah.
when I interviewed that whole class that you were in, everybody had either an imaginary friend, imaginary dog, sensitive, and the aura around her was this light lavender, beautiful aura, and it showed up on the video. That was a VHS tape. Sorry, if I find it, I'll.
We can get it converted.
I don't care.
This
But it was just so, she was so dear talking about the angels that are with her and around her, and yeah, just very natural. So as a young girl, it was
I
just,
embraced it as
Yeah,
a kid,
yeah,
and then I kind of went into that, this isn't normal, and then was willing to kind of embrace it more once I was older and realized what it was, and it wasn't something I needed to be afraid of.
right, beautiful, beautiful. And Diane wanted to also share another story too. Thank you. Yeah, I know, because you've helped a lot of people along the way too. I know, and you will continue to. That's, yeah.
I hope
Yes, so, the
The
other
question
aura-
was,
Yes,
Mandy had
she
asked,
me about the other aura that I was in, and it happened when I was about 18, and my boyfriend, who was 17, was killed suddenly in a car accident. And he was, I think of him as a shooting star because he was so full of energy in life, and he really, I don't feel he was meant to live long, and I was, blessed to be able to be a small part of that life. So when I went to the cemetery, it was 1975, I hitchhiked to the cemetery in Groton. And when I approached, I sang some lyrics to a song, which I'm a terrible singer, and I felt the earth shake. I looked around, and this aura came around me, and it was just so big, and as far as I could see, it was an October day, and so it was very, very chilly. There was chill in the air, but this aura was, not only was it electric, it was warm. There's a warm presence to it, and it just kind of surrounded me, and it danced, and it actually, I could hear sounds like music, things like not earthly music, just sounds. And I just went, turned around, the whole thing, I couldn't believe it was all around me and just so full of life. And so the warmth, I could see the edge of it, like I was in this blur, but beyond that, I could see the clearness of the day that was there. And so I stuck my hand out of it, and I could see my hand in the clearness, and I could feel the coldness of the air, and I could bring my hand back into it.
Amazing, right?
Yeah.
That was similar to me when I had a sweat lodge, and maybe I'll read that story now, and then I'll read another one. Is that okay? Yeah, we good? Okay.
Yeah.
So, thank you for sharing. Anybody else wanna, at the moment? Okay. Okay. Well. Here it is. Going out of order here. It was the late 1970s. The idealism and freedom of the 1960s fermented the yearning for spiritual integrity as back to the land approach to life developed among folks living in the western hills of Massachusetts. And the vision and hope for a peaceful and spiritual future lay in the remembrance of our indigenous ancestors and how they communed with nature. Cleansing and purifying oneself through sweat lodges and fastings were integral to the natural process of identifying with my spiritual roots. I thought to experience a sweat within a natural environment would be so relaxing and inspiring compared to the Athol YMCA sauna or the Athol steam baths. A friend of mine offered to provide a sweat lodge with steaming rocks in the woods near a running stream. Perfect. The heat of the lodge would be felt, then the natural cool down with a dip into the stream would be ideal. It was planned for a fall afternoon while my young son attended the Giving Tree preschool in Gill. I would have enough time for the sweat and be able to pick him up on time. It would be just the two of us for the sweat. My friend arrived earlier in the day to prep the lodge and start the fire. I arrived and readied my space. Silent prayers were said in an honoring to the four directions, and bowing, I entered the lodge. My friend chanted, and I sat in meditation inside the lodge as sweat poured from me. Time passed. I felt ready to exit the lodge. As I did, I apparently passed out, and my friend stayed near me until I recovered and came to consciousness. As I opened my eyes, all I saw was scintillating rainbow light. Even my body was pure rainbow light. Like Diane was just saying, it wasn't like skin and bones, it was like pure energy light. It was astonishing to see all of life was vibrating and emanating this pure sparkling light. The rock, the trees, the ground, everything. So slowly my vision returned to the natural world of form, but I was reminded from that experience of the oneness of all creation and the pure energy of light that courses through all of us. I was not expecting a vision, but clearly that was a gift. I was just going to go do a sweat. Like you were just listening to music. Well, so before I returned back to my body, I remember having an aerial color vision of my son playing outdoors on the hillside and climbing at the apparatus of the school. And that out-of-the-body experience may have been the signal I needed to help me return. I'm reminded of how many guardians and angels attend to us unaware. So my friend was glad to see me recovered and more fully present in the body again, and soon I was grounded enough to drive to my son's school and retrieve him. The memory of that sweat is rooted in my heart and sort of lasts a lifetime. So thanks. That's and Ned was a little bit older. He was 8. Can I do a little Ned story? a younger Claire and a young Ned. And Diane knows this story too. So here's an example of sensitivity to nature and just trusting and being there and accepting. I called it the fairy ring. And I have a little poem in the beginning saying, "Silent star beauty." By the way, when you leave, make sure you look up at the beauty of the moon and stars. It's just wonderful. So, silent star beauty, wooded trees with glowing lights. Fairies offer peace. Snowy and slippery road conditions were ahead with a steep incline. I thought to myself I had best park the car here on the top of the hill, only a mile and a half away from our home in Royalston at that time. Would have to walk from there, mile and a half. It was winter with a cold, dark, and snowy night surrounding us. Luckily, we were well dressed for it. "Let's get walking, Ned." "Okay." No flashlight. I was still too young to think of provisioning for one in the car for emergencies, but old enough to be a mother to a 7-year-old son. I thought he was 8. As we emerged from the car, I felt the cold air and sensed the dark, moonless evening embrace us, alone with snowflakes falling. I glanced ahead to the surrounding forest and saw a dozen white sparkling lights encircling a small tree directly near our parked car. I took comfort by the sight and felt it intimated to me that my son and I would be safe as we walked along this country road toward home. I needed to show courage in this nighttime adventure. I silently said a prayer of protection and light for us. Indeed, I was ever thankful for warm winter scarves, wool hats, snow boots, and trusty jackets. While walking toward home, our mittened hands were clasped. We both found that our eyes adjusted to the night and realized that we could distinguish the country road and shapes of trees before us. A barred owl hooted from within the woods. We chatted, hummed, and listened to the night sounds as snow swirled around us. This is nothing to you walking in the woods. For me, it was.
It's always amazing.
I know. But before too long, we passed a familiar neighbor's home and then arrived shortly at ours. It felt good to finally see the golden glowing lights coming from our home. A small prayer of thanks for our safe arrival was offered before we ate supper that night. Warm, fed, and cozy home. Well, it wouldn't not be until years later that I would learn about fairy rings. I immediately realized that was what appeared to us that winter evening, a fairy ring. The quiet celestial presence certainly reassured us as we embarked on a cold and dark walk that night. I thought to myself, a gentle fairy ring, how sweet to bid us comfort. Or did we merely intrude upon their woodland evening gathering? You know, always the personification that happens. So that's the fairy ring story. Thank you. And
You have the one about the exhibit center?
I read that last time.
Oh,
Yeah, I
you
did.
love
Yeah.
that one.
Yeah, so that's on the, yeah. And I also want to share how, you know, I tune into clouds and get messages. And there was a short story here. A woman by the name of Linda Facey, her husband Bill Facey still lives up in Wendell and taps over 200 taps on maple trees. They have a sugar bush. They're divorced now, but at the time she had had a serious biking accident. And so my friend Faith Diamond and I said, well, let's go to Worcester and visit her. Because we were, you know, she didn't have a helmet at that time, and there was concern that serious damage, you know, was happening to her. So Faith Diamond and I drove down, and as we're driving down and we're thinking about Linda and sharing, I say, Faith, do you see what I see up in the clouds there? F-I-N-E. Fine. Linda was going to be fine. So before we even got to see her in her state, just she was going to be fine. So, it's wherever you put your focus that you'll receive inspiration from. So, whatever you're attracted to in that way. So I sort of share that.
Yeah, so for you, you often see that in clouds.
Yes.
Someone else might have a different,
Exactly.
rainbows or
Yep.
wind or.
It's whatever. So I thought it, and maybe this will be the last story for now. It's about a woman by the name of Pauline. I was a hospice volunteer for about 12 years. So I just thought this shows how wherever you put your energy, your caring, your heart, your compassion, your sensitivity, it comes back to you. I mean, it's where's your attitude, there you are. So, we all have our stories in caring and love and compassion and wisdom in so many ways. And just, so this is a little story about Pauline. Hello, my little buddy. That's what you are, my buddy. Pauline endeared herself to me after a full 8 months of visits and chats. I don't know when it happened, but a small camaraderie developed between us. I was assigned to her through the Gardner Visiting Nurses Association, which is now the Central. It's a different organization. And she was up at Applewood. This is 2017. So we were not only client and hospice volunteer, but also budding friends. The bucket of life spilled over with stories from her full and rich life of 84 years. As I told her about my life adventures and daily experiences, she remembered excerpts from her life. Fond memories and stories were told to me, but due to strokes and heart conditions, word retrieval was difficult for Pauline, and we would pantomime, offer ideas, or charade until we found the sufficient word. She would say, "Yes, that's it." Darling Pauline, a big smile with a kind heart. I lived a good life. I had a good life. Pauline said more than once to me during our afternoon weekly conversations. Pauline looked forward to my visits. She was consistently grateful for each visit and for the time shared. Melt-in-your-mouth mints or small chocolates would be tucked into my pockets to give to her. The candy jar in her room was usually filled as well. Along the way to her room, I'd say hi to the nurses. Most often, Denise and Misty were on duty. When I arrived in the afternoon, Pauline was either coloring with incredible artistic flair, playing cards with a friend, she was called Esther, or watching TV, or saying her rosary. So I'd join her in card playing, then visit later in a room or in the small corridor alcove with a pleasant view to the outdoors. It was always her choice where we conversed. Occasionally, I even found her in bed due to a previous bad night. But we'd still visit, and I'd sit on the side of her bed or in her wheelchair she beckoned me to. She apologized for not having her teeth in her mouth. That's okay, you are still Pauline, and those teeth need a rest too. We smiled and laughed. The oxygen tank was her steady friend. Resident coffee time was served at 3 p.m. in the dining hall, and I became acquainted with the friends at her table. We visited, and sometimes I shared my photos from recent trips with them. I would send postcards to Pauline from my various trips and took pictures on my phone or camera to share with her later on. She liked seeing them. That's how I learned she loved to ski when she was in high school. She went with a group of guys and felt very proud of that. In the fall, she loved to pick apples and any assorted fruit from the neighborhood when she was younger. She returned home with her overall pocket stuffed. She said even in the front and the pockets down here. And she said, I was something of a tomboy. I just loved being outdoors. Now, her mom would make jam from all of those fruit that she collected. Well, since Pauline took an interest in nature, I made sure she noticed the squirrel living amidst the branches of the tall white pine tree right outside her window. The squirrel scampered down the trunk to collect leaves to make its nest. The following visit, she would inform me of any squirrel antics she had witnessed. She remarked how she loved to go for drives in the country when her husband was alive. We realized that I know her second cousin who lives in North Orange. We smiled. Small world. Pauline felt comfortable with me and shared about her daughters and their families. She was blessed with most dedicated and caring adopted daughters who made time for visits, drives, and dinners out. She never truly complained, but tried to give an optimistic smile when she'd be disappointed that a daughter didn't make it for a weekly dinner outing. If she'd shed some tears, she'd scold herself and she'd say, oh, I'm such a baby. And I'd tell her, no, you're not. You know, you love them. They're family, and it's okay to cry. You wanted to see them. Those tears bore witness to the love that she shared. She loved to go anywhere with them and enjoyed many dinners out. She even enjoyed eating a simple pizza supper. I just love pizza, she said, and I also love fresh homemade bread. And so then I made certain that I brought her some of my fresh baked bread to try. She prayed for everyone and told me that she also prayed for me. I told her I felt those prayers and that I returned them to her in kind. I thanked her. I said, living is hard. It's the dying that's easy. She expressed concern how some family members weren't communicating very well with one another. She prayed. I always checked in with the nurses at the desk or called my supervisor if I felt there was an alerting condition related to her emotional, physical, or spiritual well-being. She enjoyed meeting with a newly employed chaplain who was well-dressed and handsome. Pauline noticed fashion, and she'd often pay me a compliment, but I had to make sure. It's like, oh my God, I'm going to see Pauline. I got to get out of these jeans and spruce up a little bit. Yeah, oh my God. Because she always had her nails done. She had her hair coiffed. I mean, she was really attentive to those things. So after a few months, she no longer played a simple Go Fish card game. It was too tricky for her. A few more months later, she didn't color in her adult coloring books. She told me that she didn't feel like it when I asked about them. I felt these were small signs along the way, readying herself for departure from this life. A couple of days before her death, within my mind's eye, during a daily meditation, I saw a large, slightly open window with 2 dead flies belly up on the windowsill. I thought to myself when I came forward from my sitting meditation, I know that window, but where was it? I pondered, then I remembered. Pauline's window in her room, which she always leaves open an inch for fresh air because she loves nature. So I kept her in my heart and prayers as I tended to my day's activities. Later that same afternoon, I received a surprise call on a Monday from my hospice supervisor telling me that Pauline had taken a turn for the worse. That didn't alarm me since I had been given the small premonition insight in my meditation to her with a window with the 2 dead flies earlier in the day in that meditation. So I kept her in my loving thoughts and asked if it was necessary to visit that evening. My supervisor consulted with a chaplain, and they felt it was not imperative for me to visit that evening. I told her that I would visit on Tuesday instead of the normal Wednesday time. The previous week I visited her, Pauline had been just fine. I stopped by Tuesday afternoon. Loving family members surrounded her in her bed for 2 days. I brought what comfort I could, being sensitive to daughters, granddaughter, niece, brother, wife. So I just patted her shoulder as she lay in her bed and kissed her forehead, and I said goodbye to her. I gave the chocolate candy I'd brought for her to her granddaughter, who always left a handwritten loving message on Pauline's whiteboard after she had visited. So in the early morning of May 24th, 2017, a Wednesday, she left her physical form. Pauline died. I received a call from a nurse with whom I had left a message to have her call me. 2 dead flies on the sill in my meditation, and 2 days later, Pauline flies freely. In awe of the universal presence of love, God, Spirit, whatever you want to call it, I gave a silent prayer of thanks for Pauline's full life that day. So I decided to join our Applewood friends for coffee, and I wanted to express my sympathy to Pauline's friends. They were her second family. They said, "She was always smiling and positive. She was a great lady. I will miss her," said Esther. "I'm out of a job now. I have been opening her coffee creamer," said Sylvia. Coffee time folks miss Pauline's bright presence and quiet sense of humor. I also saw Esther and Sylvia at Pauline's wake in Gardner, which I attended. We watched the video of Pauline's life together. It was so sweet that they got a bus to get them there to the wake and the service. So I made sure that they each received a prayer card which had the 23rd Psalm and a picture of Walter, her husband, and Pauline on the front. And "Reunited" was written below the photo. Her husband had died 15 years previously. Pauline's obituary was packed with her numerous endeavors and activities within the community. I only knew her 8 months, this little bit of time. And she was very involved in life and served in generous ways, from Girl Scouting to family adventures. When I witnessed the bright male and female cardinals fly by my property on the day of her funeral, I knew without a doubt that she and Walter were indeed reunited and flying freely. A sign from nature, which he so dearly loved. I was grateful for the time Pauline and I shared, just being open and listening to her many stories. My heart received many silent gifts. Being a hospice volunteer is a wondrous journey, and in my heart and soul, I hope that the family will be comforted by the many memories they now have of Pauline as mother, grandmother, aunt, and friend. So I end with just a little tiny haiku. Life richly once lived, beckoning love's memories, address our kind hearts. So that's, thank you. Thank you. And I think it's time, it's overtime. Are there any questions, or there's lots more I could share. One, not a story. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I just had a general question going back to the chakras.
Yeah.
Sometimes when I listen to MBE experiences, when they say their spirit leaves, it's in those locations, and I just wondered if you'd ever heard that.
In the chakra locations?
Yeah, they'll say it's either from here or here.
Yes, yes, when you exit, you go through your chakras.
Right, okay.
Yes, yes, correct.
Yeah.
That's the energy
I mean, they don't
alignment.
call it that, but
Right.
they say that part of their body.
Right,
So I was thinking about that.
yes. And the Dalai Lama meditates on his death every day, of his life. So, and I think there's a quote there, Einstein says, make peace with your death so you might fully live. And it is, that. Oh yeah, Ivan just went. So, closing with a night thought by Tommy Snyder. And I'll just read it as you're getting it. And Tommy Snyder was, and still is, alive, and a boyfriend a long time ago. But he was called to be in Japan. You could Google him. Lots of music, lots of music out and so forth. And he first went to Japan to be in a band called Godigo. You go, you die, and you go. And he also was a supporter of Elwood, helped to get Voices of Spirit, his biography, out, published. He had resources and helped contribute to that. So he's aware of esoteric teachings. And when he then went to Japan, he became a sensation. Every Japanese woman fell in love with him. Like, at the time, Michael Jackson was popular. And so he then wrote a book of poems. He compiled his poetry for his fans. For You My Feelings Flow, he called it. And this is one of the poems that I think is a beautiful thought before sleep. Take me to the temple where the truth was born. Sculpt me in a statue of angelic form. Paint me in a picture with the early morning light. These are the prayers of myself tonight. Bathe me in the waters of the virtue pool. Teach to me the lessons of a spirit tool. Walk with me in gardens of celestial thought. Talk and free yourself, and let your mind be caught in the wind of prayer. It's Tommy Snyder. And I'll just, one short little story. So when you're intimate with somebody, you're open to the universe, the cosmos. So there we were, and lo and behold, I said, I'm seeing Jack Benny. And he says, you're not going to believe it, I'm hearing his voice. So between the two of us, we had the comedian of Jack Benny. And so that became, as we wrote letters and so forth, but I knew once he went to Japan, that was the end of our relationship. But just, you just never know, how things happen. But we got a lot of laughs out of that. And then Jack Benny is one of my comedian guardians, and so each of us have our little connections with a comedian. So find out who it is and keep smiling and laughing, and thank you. Forward community, dear to my heart. Thank you.
Thank you.
Namaste. Thank you.